What's up, guys? This is going to be the first in a series of videos that I'm making to teach my friends how to play Global War 1936. These are going to be oriented towards people who have played Axis and Allies Global 40 before. So I'm not going to be teaching the basics, just the differences between Global War and Axis and Allies Global 40. Today we're going to be kicking it off with the map and the differences between the Global 40 map and the Global War 1936 map. All right, let's go. Okay, so a big difference between Axis and Allies and Global War is going to be terrain. So the terrain is the stuff you see here, these mountains. There's a desert here, and then also rivers. There's also jungle and marshes, which I'll show you in a second. The way that terrain works is if a roundel is inside of an area with terrain, so this is a mountain territory. And this one right here, see the roundel is in the mountains, so this is a mountain territory. There are also mountain borders or desert borders. So if you have to cross the terrain to get to the roundel, it's a border. So attacking here from Suiwan into Karulin would be a desert border. Attacking from Cheetah into Karulin would be a mountain border because you're crossing the terrain to get to the roundel. So terrain is going to have effects on your combat. If it's a mountain territory, for example, you're going to have the terrain modifiers on every single round of combat. But if it's a mountain border, so you're crossing this border to get to this roundel, that's a mountain border, you're going to have terrain effects for the first round of combat only. Same thing applies to rivers. If you're crossing this river to get to the roundel, so attacking from Irkutsk into Buryatia, you're crossing this river to get to this roundel, so you're going to have a river penalty for one round. All right. Okay, so here we've got jungle territory here in India and Southeast Asia. Again, same deal. The roundel here is inside of a jungle, so this is a jungle territory. And then over here in Finland, this is what the marsh looks like. So we've got a marsh territory because the roundel is in this marsh territory. And we've got a marsh border because you have to cross the marsh to get to the roundel. All right. Another note, deserts are sometimes hard to see. You can tell by this border here that this entire area is a desert all the way down into Saudi Arabia. Okay. Keep in mind that each different type of territory, mountains versus deserts versus marshes versus jungles, have different combat modifiers. And it's really easy to just look it up in the rules real quick. A couple more things about the map. Any of these circular territories are called cities because they're, cities which exist in real life. And they have their own combat modifiers for the defense. So any defending ground units in a city get +1 to their combat on all rounds. However, if you have a city completely surrounded as the enemy, so you own, for example in Kiev, you own all 3 territories that surround it, the defense gets a -1 to all rolls on their combat instead of the +1. So use that to your advantage when you're attacking and try to avoid it when you're defending. Another thing, these black and white dotted lines on the map here are railroads, and they're going to be super important for moving your units around, and I'll talk about that in a later video. And there are a few territories on the map that have these gray lines around the cities or the territory. Those are called fortification zones, and it acts as a fortification, which is a unit in the game that I will get to in a later video, but keep that in mind. There are 2 straits on this map. One of them obviously being Gibraltar, and whoever owns Gibraltar owns access to the Med. The other one is Denmark, which is a little bit more complicated. While Denmark is neutral, only Soviet and Axis units may pass through the strait. Allied units may not pass through the Danish Strait while Denmark is neutral. So, If the Allies have control of Denmark, or if Denmark is aligned to the Allies, then Allied units may pass through the Danish Straits. All throughout the sea zones are these dotted lines. These are called convoy lines, and there's going to be an entire video on those, so keep those in mind. Those are called convoy lines. There are lots of different types of facilities in this game. So minor ports, dockyards, major ports, a major dockyard. And we're going to have a video on the facilities in this game, which is going to include fortifications and coastal artillery as well.